Hey Krishna, dear devotees, let us chant one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine, Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Namo Vishnupadaya कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Let's recite Bhagavad Gita shloka. We are reciting from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 13, text 26. If anyone needs to go first, please raise your hand. Okay, we just go in order. Inba Inya.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Anye त्वेवम् अजानन्तः श्रुत्वा नेभ्य उपासते तेऽपि Titarantyaiva Mrityum Shruti Parayanah. Translation. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of the tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death.
Yes. Inya?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Anye tvevam ajanantah Shrutva nebhya upasate Tepi charitaram tyeva Mrityum Shruti Parayana. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the paths of birth and death.
Mataji, Prabhuji, yeah, Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam, Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Anve tvevam ajanantah Shrutvannyebhya upasate te api chatiran teva mrityum shruti parayanah. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Anyate tvevam ajanantah Shrutva nebhya upasate Tepi charitarantyeva Mrityum Shruti Parayanah. Translation, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Isha?
Anyatvevam ajanantah Shrutvannyebhya upasate Devi charitarantyeva Mrityum Shruti Parayana. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death.
Krishna Shish?
अन्येत्वेवम् अजानन्तः श्रुत्वान्येभ्य उपासते तेऽपि चातितरन्त्येव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणः. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend path of birth and death.
Madhava?
Anyatvevam ajanantah Shrutvannyebhya upasate Devi charitarantyeva Mrityum Shruti Parayanah. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death.
Rasapriya?
Anyatvevam ajanantah Shrutvannyebhya upasate Devi charitarantyeva Mrityum Shruti Parayana. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death.
Priyanka Haripriya Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Anyatva evam ajanantah Shrutva nebhya upasate te api chatiranteva mrityum shruti parayanah. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shri Radhe Shravani Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, Jai Srila Prabhupada. अन्ये
Dandavat
त्वयेवम् अजानन्तः श्रुत्वा नेभ्य उपासते ते अपि चातितरन्त्येव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणाः. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, I'll also recite Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 13, text 26. अन्ये त्वेवम् अजानन्तः श्रुत्वान्येभ्यः उपासते तेऽपि चातितरन्त्येव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणाः. Again, there are those who, even though not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. Aditi Lata Mataji and Arunita.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Anyetva evam ajananta shrutvaneva upasate tepi chati taranteva mrityum shruti parayana. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Arunita.
अन्यत्वमेव जानन्तः शृण्वन्भूयभास्ते तेऽपि चाति चारन्ति एव मृत्युश्रुतिपरायणाः. Translation. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. That's all? Okay. So let's read from Srimad Bhagavatam. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 24, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the last chapter of the 9th canto, and also we are reading the last verses of this chapter leading to the 10th canto. So the 9th canto was talking about the sun and moon dynasties. The sun dynasty culminated in the description of Lord Ramchandra's pastimes, in brief, of course. And then the moon dynasty culminated in the appearance of Lord Krishna. Then there is verses in brief again explaining that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for one. Why does he appear? Because when does he appear? He appears when there is a rise of irreligion, decline in religious principles, and he's not forced by any situation, or he comes out of his own sweet will. Rather, he comes because of his compassion on the living entities. So when he comes, he performs his wonderful pastimes, which are difficult to understand even for great demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, and what to speak of other conditioned souls. But these pastimes are very attractive, and through these pastimes, the Lord attracts the living entities to the spiritual world. So now there is a subject matter to talk about when the Lord performs these pastimes. Now these pastimes are discussed. So when one hears this Krishna Katha, when this sound vibration enters into the holes, ear holes, what happens? One becomes liberated. In fact, he transcends the material conditions. All his miseries are removed like that. Then what is Krishna Katha, right? About his beauty, his qualities, his pastimes. So then there's a description of Krishna's beauty, about his form particularly, right? Narakriti, it is said. Krishna's form is uh, exactly resembling the form of a human being, although there's a gulf of difference. The human being's bodies are made of material ingredients, but Krishna's body is completely transcendental. But it exactly resembles a human form. Uh, but although it resembles exactly, it is so wonderful that when somebody, and then there's a description of Krishna's beautiful face, his cheeks, his earrings, his smile, that anyone who sees even one aspect of his transcendental body, one limb of his transcendental body, he cannot move his eyes away from that limb, like that we were discussing. So let's continue reading now. I'll quickly go over text 65.
Mataji, it's my turn today.
Yes. No, we need to charge. Hmm? Okay. Krishna's face is decorated with ornaments such as earrings resembling sharks. His ears are beautiful, his cheeks brilliant, and his smiling attractive to everyone. Whoever sees Lord Krishna sees a festival. His face and body are fully satisfying for everyone to see, but the devotees are angry at the Creator for the disturbance caused by the momentary blinking of their eyes. So, yeah. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada elaborated on the word, I think, Narakriti. No, that's another verse. Nitya Utsavam, right? It's a festival, continuous festival. Seeing Krishna's beautiful form is a continuous festival. But who is relishing this? The devotees. And amongst the devotees also, there are different grades of devotees, right? There are devotees, the Andakas, Bhojas, Vrishnis, Pandavas, they're all devotees. But of all of them, who is relishing Krishna's beauty the most? Nitya Utsavam is for whom? Especially for the Brajbasis, the cows, the gopis, the gopas, Ananda Maharaj, Yashoda Mai, for them, like that. Yeah. Yeah, and also Srila Prabhupada said the beauty of Krishna's face is appreciated much more by the gopis than it is appreciated even by Yashoda Mai or the cowherd boys, because they are also decorating Krishna's face, but the gopis are appreciating it the most because of their constant meditation, and also we discussed how they are in the Madhurya Rasa. The next verse. जातो गतः पितृगृहाद् व्रजमेधितार्थो हत्वा रिपून् सुतशतानि कृतोरुदारः उत्पाद्यतेषु पुरुषः क्रतुभिः समीजे आत्मानमात्मनिगमं प्रथयाञ्जनेषु. Yes, Arunita.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, known as Leela Purushottama, appeared as the son of Vasudeva, but immediately left his father's home and went to Vrindavan to expand his loving relationship with his confidential devotees. In Vrindavan, the Lord killed many demons, and afterwards he returned to Dwarka, where, according to Vedic principles, he married many wives, who were the best of women, begot through them hundreds of sons, and performed sacrifices for his own worship to establish the principles of household religion.
Thank you. So these are this one and the next verse are the last two verses of the ninth canto. The last two verses of this chapter of the ninth canto. and Krishna's pastimes from his appearance until his disappearance is described in 2 verses. Okay? You think Parikshit Maharaj is going to be satisfied hearing about Krishna in just 2 verses? Anyway, so just like after when we were hearing about the Sun dynasty, there was some description of Lord Ramchandra's pastimes, yes? So now at the end of Moon dynasty also, there is some description of Krishna's pastimes. It's only discussed in 2 verses. Translation, the supreme, purport, sorry, I keep forgetting. Purport. So is Achintadev Prabhu going to read, or should I go to Inba?
He can't read right now.
Okay, Inba or Inia or Mataji Prabhuji, whoever is ready.
Yes, Mataji. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 15, Vedascha Sarver Ahameva Vedyaha. By all the Vedas, it is Krishna who is to be known. Lord Sri Krishna, setting an example by his own behavior, performed many ritualistic ceremonies described in the Vedas and established the principles of Grihastha life by marrying many wives and begetting many children, just to show people in general how to be happy by living according to Vedic principles. The center of Vedic sacrifice is Krishna. Vedashcha sarve rahameva vedya. To advance in human life, human society must follow the Vedic principles personally demonstrated by Lord Krishna in his householder life. The real purpose of Krishna's appearance, however, was to manifest how one can take part in loving affairs with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Reciprocations of loving affairs and ecstasy are possible only in Vrindavan. Therefore, just after his appearance as the son of Vasudev, the Lord immediately left for Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, the Lord not only took part in loving affairs with his father and mother, the gopis and the cowherd boys, but also gave liberation to many demons by killing them. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 8, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chidushkrutam. The Lord appears in order to protect the devotees and kill the demons. This was fully exhibited by his personal behavior. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is understood by Arjuna to be Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, the eternal transcendental supreme person. Here also we find the words Upaditeshu Purushaha. Therefore, it is to be concluded that the absolute truth is Purusha, a person. The impersonal feature is but one of the features of his personality. Ultimately, he is a person. He is not impersonal. And not only is he Purusha, a person, but he is the Leela Purushottama, the best of all persons.
Yeah, Purushottama. Uttama means the best. Not only is he Purusha, but is Purushottama. Leela Purushottama. Okay. So, what did we read in the translation? That Krishna is known as Leela Purushottama. Purushaha is said. Utpadyateshu Purushaha. So, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Leela Purushottama. Appeared as the son of Vasudev, but immediately left for his father's home and left his father's home and went to Vrindavan. Why did he go to Vrindavan? To expand his loving relationship with his confidential devotees. So, what is Srila Prabhupada saying about this? As soon as Krishna appeared, he left his father's home, Vasudev's home, and went to Vrindavan. Why did he go to Vrindavan? To expand his loving relationship with his confidential devotees. So, one thing that we understand is Krishna's confidential devotees are in Vrindavan. They are his eternal associates. Of course, there's also those who associated with his eternal associates, and they also became eternal associates by that. But along with Krishna, his eternal associates also descend to perform pastimes. So that his confidential devotees are the Brajbasis. So Krishna left Vasudev's home to go to Vrindavan. So here Srila Prabhupada is saying, just after his appearance as the son of Vasudev, the Lord immediately left for Vrindavan. Why? Because the real purpose of Krishna's appearance was to manifest how one can take part in loving affairs with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To awaken our Krishna consciousness and to actually participate. You see, Srila Prabhupada said that when one perfects his sadhana in this life, if he perfects his sadhana in this life, it is not that he directly goes to the spiritual world, rather he goes to a planet in the material world where Krishna is personally performing his pastimes, and there he is trained how to serve Krishna by the devotees. And then from there he is transferred to the spiritual world. Like that Srila Prabhupada said. So similarly, when Krishna comes, that's exactly what is happening. When he comes to this earth or when he goes to another universe, when Krishna appears, he's actually inviting the devotees, those who are actually qualified to participate in loving reciprocation, to engage in loving dealings with him in different rasas. There is Dasya rasa, Sakhya rasa, Vatsalya rasa and Madhurya rasa. So depending on that devotee's particular rasa, he or she is invited to participate with Krishna in loving dealings. So Krishna, Swayam Bhagwan Krishna, his eternal residence is Golok Vrindavan. That's the topmost planet. And there they have, there's only sweetness in Vrindavan. There's no Aishwarya. And then when you go to Dwaraka and Mathura, there is Madhurya mixed with Aishwarya. And then when you come down to Vaikuntha, it's only Aishwarya. There's no Madhurya there. Like that. So the topmost planet is Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan Dham, where there is purely sweetness and Madhurya Ras. And the devotees there, the Brajbasis, Vrindavan residents, they are always engaged in these loving dealings with Krishna. And when Krishna comes to this world, it's like, you get to see what it is like in the spiritual world. Because he's performing those pastimes here. And then there's, we can talk about those pastimes, we can hear about those pastimes, we can meditate on those pastimes. And by this, even the future people who will come after Krishna's disappearance, they can also take advantage of Krishna's appearance. So why did Krishna go to Vrindavan is the question. He went to Vrindavan because his actual purpose was to invite everyone to take part in loving affairs with him. And where do they happen? The topmost loving affairs in all these 5 sweet rasas, where does it happen? It happens in Vrindavan. Outside of Vrindavan, there is mixture of Aishwarya. But in Vrindavan, it is only Madhurya, it is sweetness. His confidential devotees are in Vrindavan. So Krishna went to Vrindavan. The real purpose of Krishna's appearance is to invite everyone to take part in loving affairs with Krishna. So that's one. Krishna, soon after he appeared, he left his father's home and he went to Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, what did Krishna do? He killed many demons, Putana, Trinavarta, then Bakasur, Aghasur, like that. Many demons in Vrindavan Krishna killed. Vatsasur, Pralambasur was killed by Balaram. And afterwards, he returned to Dwaraka. Of course, first from there. So many things happened in between. From Vrindavan, Krishna went to Mathura, then he killed Kamsa. He lived in Mathura for 18 years. He lived in Mathura and then he went to Dwaraka. So afterwards he returned to Dwaraka, where according to Vedic principles he married many wives who were the best of women, begot through them hundreds of sons, and performed sacrifices for his own worship to establish the principles of householder life. So this second part of the translation you see here in the purport, Vedaischa Sarvair Ahameva Vedyaha. The purpose of the Vedas, what are all the Vedas directing us to? They are indicating or they are guiding us to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then there is a procedure given, right? So Lord Sri Krishna is setting example himself to follow the Vedic path. He's setting example by his own behavior. So first of all, so this is in Dwaraka. Okay, this is in Dwaraka. Krishna as a householder with his wives, how he would rise early in the morning, and he would meditate in the morning upon himself, and then he would give charity. He would give charity. He would give cows in charity to the brahmanas every morning. And then he would also, offer respects to his elders, his parents, and he would take care of his, family responsibilities, all according to the Vedic injunctions. He doesn't need to do anything. We already read that in one of the previous verses, that his activities, his appearance are not being done under any rules or conditions. He's above everything. He's supremely independent. Then why does he do? He does it out of his compassion. It is said Atma Maya. Atma Maya means there the translation was out of his compassion. He has come and he's performing these activities also as a householder. Why he is doing? To set an example. To set an example. By following his example, one will follow the Vedic lifestyle, and by this one will become purified. One more point that His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj mentions here is that people are interested in, materialistic people. Generally, conditioned souls means materialistic only, isn't it? Majority of the people in this world are materialistic. That's why we are in this material world. So what are we interested in, right? Somebody is after money, right? He's very much interested about money, and they like to sit and talk about money all the time, how to earn money and where to invest money, like that. Someone else is interested in uh, politics, right? Administration. They sit and talk, even though they're just living in small villages, but they talk about country's politics. Just sit down hours and hours together. They talk. That's their interest. And someone else is interested in the love affairs between a man and woman, especially extramarital relationships. And then others are interested in those who are pious. They want family life, how to lead family life properly, like that. If you see Krishna's pastimes, they include all these aspects. Everything is there, so it attracts all types of people. Anyway, if we are going to hear these topics, that's our interest. Instead of hearing about some materialistic person's activities, about whether it is about opulence, about wealth, about love affairs, about married life, or politics, just read Krishna book. Just read about Krishna's activities, and that is going to purify our existence. And beyond that, after purification, we'll get love of Krishna, which is the highest goal achievable. So Krishna performs these wonderful pastimes. So again, so what did Krishna do? He married and he followed, performed many here. Lord Sri Krishna, setting an example by his own behavior, performed many ritualistic ceremonies described in the Vedas and established the principles of Grihastha life. by marrying many wives and begetting many children just to show people in general how to be happy by living according to Vedic principles. So Krishna is showing that you can actually be happy by living according to Vedic principles. Begetting many children, you know how many children Krishna had? Krishna married 16,108 wives, 16,108, and from each wife he had exactly 10 sons and 1 daughter. Same number with all 16,108 wives. Each wife gave birth to 10 sons and 1 daughter. All of them had 10 sons and 1 daughter. So this is Krishna's immediate family, his children. And he lived his Grihastha life strictly according to Vedic principles. And now, according to Vedic principles, what are the Vedas guiding us toward worshipping Krishna? And here Krishna is living according to Vedic principles. So who should he be worshipping? Himself, right? The center of Vedic sacrifice is Krishna. To advance in human life, human society must follow the Vedic principles personally demonstrated by Lord Krishna in his householder life, like that. So that is to set an example to lead a Vedic lifestyle. So we saw why Krishna left Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan also, his pastimes are variety of pastimes. Not just that he had only, loving dealings only with the gopis. He had loving dealings with the cows. He had loving dealings with his cowherd boyfriends. He had loving dealings with the elderly gopis when he would go to steal butter, with his mother, with his father, with everyone. He had loving dealings. He not only took part in loving affairs with his father and mother, the gopis and cowherd boys, but he also gave liberation to many demons by killing them. Yes, this is another important point. Krishna's mercy, whether he becomes angry or whether he is showing affection, in both cases it is his affection only. In both cases it is his mercy. Because somebody comes to him in the mood of an enemy to fight with him, he shows his mercy as an enemy, right? Just like, of course, Bhishma Dev is a devotee, he's not in, but you know, how Krishna showed his mercy to Bhishma Dev. Bhishma Dev is a warrior, right? So the way to satisfy a warrior is to give him a good fight. When you give him a good fight and a great death on battlefield, that's the way you actually honor a warrior. And Krishna fulfilled Bhishma Dev's desire on the battlefield. He fulfilled Bhishma Dev's desire. So in the same way, of course, as I said, Bhishma Dev is a devotee of the Lord, but there are demons who come to fight with Krishna. So Krishna killed them. But by killing, whether someone is killed by Krishna or somebody is, playing with Krishna, everyone is benefited. Even those who are killed by Krishna, they didn't have to take birth again in this world. Yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. Once you go there, you never come back. They all got liberated. In Vrindavan, the Lord not only took part in loving affairs, but the demons that he killed, they all got liberated. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chatuskrita. So whether he is protecting the devotees or killing the dushkritinas, everyone is benefited. And the Lord appears in order to protect the devotees and kill the demons. This was fully exhibited by his personal behavior. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is understood by Arjun to be Purusham Shashwatam Divyam. Yes, so here also in this verse also there is that word Purusha. So that word is explained. Purusha, yes, he is a person, he is not impersonal, because Bhagavatam is such that actually not Bhagavatam. It's very hard to it's difficult to interpret Srimad Bhagavatam according to impersonal philosophy. It's not easy. That is why Shripad Shankaracharya did not give a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. Vedanta Sutras, yes, He gave commentary and he gave his Sharirika Bhashya. That means the impersonal philosophy. That means the Vedanta Sutras are speaking about the absolute as impersonal. In the ultimate issue, the absolute is impersonal. Like that, he gave his philosophy. But he didn't touch Srimad Bhagavatam. But some people try to comment on that. Later on, after Shankaracharya, those who came, they try to talk about Srimad Bhagavatam, that the verses of Bhagavatam are actually pointing out that the absolute truth is impersonal. But that's not true, right? So the word Purusha is used. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that Purusha means he's a person. Purusha means he's a person. And what type of a person? He's not only a person, but he's he's the best of all persons. He's Purushottama, Leela Purushottama, like that. So this is the first verse of the last two. This is the first one, which is talking about Krishna's pastimes. How Krishna left his father's home and went to Vrindavan for the purpose of expanding loving relationships with his confidential devotees. Then he went to Dwaraka, he married many wives and he had many children, and he lived his householder life strictly according to Vedic principles. Next. So, Inya read. Inba, Jai Shri Mataji, Jai Ganesh Prabhu. Prithvya savai guru bharam kshapayan kurunam antah samutha kalina yudhibhupachamba drishtya vidhuya vijaye jayamudvighosya protyodhavaya chaparam samagat swadhama. Inba.
Mataji, I'll read the translation.
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Shri Prabhupada. Thereafter, Lord Shri Krishna created a misunderstanding between family members just to diminish the burden of the world. Simply by his glance, he annihilated all the demonic kings on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and declared victory for Arjuna. Finally, he instructed Uddhava about transcendental life and devotion and then returned to his abode in his original form.
Finished.
Yeah.
Krishna book is completed in 2 verses, right? The previous verse started off with Krishna's appearance in the house of Vasudeva, and the next verse is saying how Krishna returned to his abode. Just in a matter of 3-4 sentences, entire Krishna Leela is said. So thereafter means in the last verse, what did we see? Krishna went to Dwaraka and he married and he had many sons. That's what we read, right? And he was living his life strictly according to Vedic principles. So now, thereafter, Lord Krishna created a misunderstanding between family members. This is about Yadu dynasty, just to diminish the burden of the world. Simply by his glance, he annihilated all the demoniac kings. Okay, so not Yadu dynasty, that will come later. Actually, both are included here. Both the battle of Kurukshetra and then the Yadu dynasty's annihilation soon after that. So first the battle of Kurukshetra happened, and then the Yadu dynasty's annihilation happened. Same, that was also a big, because you saw the family members, just Krishna's immediate sons were so many. Then what to speak of, all the others, brothers, children, and uncles, and grandfathers, and so many, big family. They were also about the same amount as on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Right, on the battlefield you had how many, 66 crore or something? Similar number was there, maybe a little bit more than the members on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, a little bit more than that in the annihilation of the Yadu dynasty. That was a big massacre also. They all killed each other. So Lord Krishna created a misunderstanding between family members, right? Misunderstanding. That was Yadu dynasty, just to diminish the burden of the world. Simply by his glance, he annihilated all the demoniac kings on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Yes. So when Krishna took part in the battle of Kurukshetra, he didn't personally take up any weapons, but he was on the side of Arjun, and the enemies who would come, Krishna was not fighting, but simply by looking at them, by glancing on them, he was taking away their life. He was reducing their life. Ayu means your life, right? How long you will live. That is Ayu. So that Ayu, he was just taking away. And as a result, the warriors on the other side, when they saw Krishna, they didn't have a desire to live anymore. They wanted to give up their lives immediately. Looking at Krishna, they just wanted to give up their lives. That was their consciousness by the influence of Krishna. So here it is said that he annihilated all the demoniac kings on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and declared victory for Arjun. Finally, so this is after the Yadu's annihilation. He instructed Uddhava about transcendental life and devotion and then returned to his abode in his original form. This happened at Prabhasa. So next, purport. Inba is going to read.
Yes, Mataji. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. The mission of Lord Krishna was performed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, for by the Lord's mercy Arjuna was victorious due to being a great devotee, whereas the others were killed simply by the Lord's glance, which cleansed them of all sinful activities and enabled them to attain sarupya. Finally, Lord Krishna instructed Uddhava about the transcendental life of devotional service, and then in due course of time, he returned to his abode. The Lord's instructions in the form of Bhagavad Gita are full of jnana and vairagya, knowledge and renunciation. In the human form of life, one must learn these two things: how to become detached from the material world and how to acquire full knowledge in spiritual life. This is the Lord's mission. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. After executing his complete mission, the Lord returned to his home, Goloka Vrindavan. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purports of the 9th canto, 24th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. End of the 9th canto.
Yes, thank you. So, Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport, so Krishna wound up his pastimes and went. And here it is said that he caused some misunderstanding between family members simply to reduce the burden of the world. So, what is the Lord's mission? Reducing the burden of the world means to annihilate the dushkritinas, or the miscreants. To give protect when the miscreants are annihilated, the sadhus are protected, right? Now they can peacefully advance in their Krishna consciousness. So the mission of Lord Krishna was performed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra through Arjun. The Lord was not personally fighting, but he was assisting Arjun, and Arjun got victory. And how Arjun got victory? Because he was Krishna's devotee. And all the others were killed by Krishna's mercy. He would just glance on them, and as I said, their life was reduced. But again, when someone dies in Krishna's presence, he's not a loser. They all were glancing on Krishna. Whoever gave up his lives looking at Krishna, they all were liberated, and what was the last thing that they saw at the time of death? The beautiful form of Krishna. So they got the same form. Same form means sarupya, liberation. So mukti. See, unless you get love for Krishna, Krishna prema, you cannot go to Golok Vrindavan Dham. Golok Vrindavan Dham is only possible when you do pure devotional service, bhakti, and you develop and by pure devotional service also you have sadhana, then bhava, right? Ecstasy. You have to come to the platform of ecstasy. That is, you have up to anartha nivritti nishta, then you start getting ruchi, right? And at that stage, one actually starts to follow some Brajbasi in their footsteps. They start uh, performing their devotional activities in the footsteps of Brajbasis. Only then they can go to Vrindavan. Otherwise, they'll go to either Dwaraka. If they're meditating on Krishna, they go to Dwaraka. If not, they go to Vaikuntha. So, but liberation the Lord will give. So, whoever was looking at Krishna at that time, At the time of death, they all got liberated. They got mukti. What type of mukti they got? Sarupya mukti. The form the same as, that means they got transcendental form. They got transcendental form in the spiritual world. And by the way, in Vaikunthas also there is Krishna Loka in Vaikunta. Golok Vrindavan is there, but there's also Krishna in Vaikunta. But there is Aishwarya there. It's not like Krishna in Vrindavan or in Dwaraka. So I just heard a mention of that in one class. I don't know much details, but I just heard a mention of that. In Vaikunta also, they are there. Krishna is there, but there it is Aishwarya. So they can go there. Someone who sees the form of Krishna on the battlefield at the time of giving up their body, they can go there. They get liberated and they can get, like other Vaikuntha Vasis, Sarupya Mukti, same form as the Lord they get. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying. So by Krishna's glance, they were cleansed of all sinful activities and were enabled to attain Sarupya like this. Then, of course, Krishna told Uddhava to, Krishna gave instructions to Uddhava even before the battle happened. I mean, before the Yadus killed each other at Prabhasa, Krishna actually gave instructions to Uddhava. And then Krishna told Uddhava, now you go to Naranarayan Rishi in Badrikashram, because I am going to wind up my pastimes. All these Yadus are going to Prabhasa, they are not going to come back. Everyone is going to be annihilated, and I'm also going to wind up my pastimes. I'm also going to go. You won't be able to handle this. You won't be able to bear to see all this. So you don't go to Prabhasa. Krishna told Uddhava, you don't go to Prabhasa. From here you directly go to Badrikashram. Therefore Uddhava stayed back. And Krishna along with the other Yadus went to Prabhas. And at Prabhas, because of intoxication, that means they ate this rice, fermented rice drink, right? And then they became intoxicated. They started insulting each other. And then they picked up those canes, on the seashore, and they started fighting with each other and killed. Everyone was killed. Then Lord Balaram also, he, in the form of Anantasesh, he entered into the sea. And Lord Krishna was there, seeing the whole, everyone is dead. And Lord Krishna sat under a young banyan tree, against a young banyan tree, just before leaving. And at that time, Uddhava comes there. How Uddhava came? Because after Krishna and the Yadus and Krishna left, Uddhava was not supposed to go, but he could not stay behind. Knowing that Krishna is going to leave, he couldn't stay. We hear earlier also, Uddhava was so close to Krishna that he would always be with Krishna. He was very intimately, he was very intimate with Krishna. And he even looked like Krishna. When Uddhava was sent to Vrindavan, the Brajvasis actually thought Krishna has come. Anyway, so he was very intimately attached to Krishna. So the thought that Krishna is going to wind up the pastimes, he couldn't stay away from Krishna. So although he tried, but then eventually he came. That's why he came a little late. By that time, all the annihilation had happened. Krishna was just sitting there, and Uddhava went. So once again, Krishna spoke to Uddhava, consoled him, and he gave him, Srimad Bhagavatam there. And then Lord Krishna sent Uddhava from there, and Krishna went back. He wound up his pastimes, went back to Golok Vrindavan from there, from Prabhasa. So that's what is being said here, that finally Lord Krishna instructed Uddhava about the transcendental life of devotional service, and then in due course of time he returned to his abode. The Lord's instructions in the form of Bhagavad Gita are full of jnana and vairagya. So if you do bhakti, jnana and vairagya come automatically. Yes, so that is why Bhagavad Gita has 3 sections. First section is called Nishkama Karma Yoga. Second section is called Bhakti. And the third section is called Jnana, or you can say Jnana and Vairagya. So, if you do Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya, and Nishkam Karma Yoga, both are actually nourished by Bhakti. That's why Bhakti is kept in the middle. It is life giver, right? When you are actually doing Bhakti, then Gyan Vairagya also is sustained by the Bhakti, and Nishkam Karma Yoga is also sustained by Bhakti. So that's why Bhakti is kept in the middle of Bhagavad Gita. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains like that. First 6 chapters are Nishkam Karma Yoga, middle 6 chapters are Bhakti, and last 6 chapters are Gyan and Vairagya. So here Srila Prabhupada is saying Bhagavad Gita is full of Gyan and Vairagya. Knowledge and renunciation. In the human form of life, one must learn these 2 things. Jnana and Vairagya, you have to learn. How do we learn Jnana and Vairagya? By doing Bhakti, Jnana and Vairagya come. How to become detached from material world and how to acquire full knowledge in spiritual life. This is the Lord's mission. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. After executing his complete mission, the Lord returned to his home, Golok Vrindavan. Yeah, being detached from the material world. Vinashaya cha dushkritam. And acquiring full knowledge of spiritual world, I think that's Paritranaya sadhunam. So this is the Lord's mission, to give us this Gyan and Vairagya. He gave us Bhagavad Gita, right? So with that, in Bhagavad Gita, he gave these instructions. And the Lord's mission is to protect the devotees and to annihilate the miscreants. So after he completed this mission, after he gave Bhagavad Gita and Uddhav Gita, and he took care of he fulfilled his mission of coming, then he went back. That's the end of the 9th canto. So you remember how the 9th canto ended? With 2 verses. The 2 verses are the entire Krishna Leela in 2 verses. So that leads us to the 10th canto. Yes, Aditi Lata Mataji.
Mataji, I just wanted to share 2 thoughts in these 2 verses. One is Krishna is so kind that for his devotees he always protect, and whatever is good for that devotee he does that. Like Uddhava, he was saying that don't come because you can't bear that, because he knows that how much love he has for him. And in the same way, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we read, what was that first time we were reading?
Now, what we are reading now? Madhavendra
No,
Puri?
Govinda
Ghosh.
Ghosh.
Yesterday, Govinda Ghosh.
I think so. I had a thought. Krishna doesn't
Tell
want
me
me
the
to.
pastime. I'll tell you who it is. Tell me the pastime.
No. I'm trying to think which one. It just matched like that. Krishna, uh, not
Well,
Govinda Ghosh.
okay,
Krishna actually protected that person by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by saying that don't
there is
go there.
one of them is Loknath Goswami. Loknath Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, before even taking sannyas, he sent him to Vrindavan. Loknath Goswami was actually an associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Navadvip. This was before he took sannyas. But Mahaprabhu knew that he wouldn't be able to live if he saw the pastime of Mahaprabhu's acceptance of sannyas. So therefore Mahaprabhu told him You go to Vrindavan, we will meet in Vrindavan. But it was so difficult for him. He was so attached to Mahaprabhu. He was crying and crying. About Govind Ghosh, you were telling that Mahaprabhu told him, you go to Grihastha ashram and I will meet you. You will attain me in Grihastha ashram, and he was crying and going. Is that what you were saying? You were remembering that one?
No, there is another one. I just went blank, Mataji. There is something where out of compassion, he said, uh, you know, uh,
Okay.
so-
But this pastime about Loknath Goswami is very apt.
Really same, yeah.
Yeah. He cries and cries, and he actually, and he goes there. And yeah. But that was because, and then he eventually gets news about the Lord's taking sannyas. The Lord actually tells him that you won't be able to bear to see this, so you go like that.
Yes,
And
Mataji. I will tell you the past time when I remember. All of a sudden, my brain went blank.
yeah,
One more thing, Mataji. The previous verse which you were discussing was about what was that? What was the verse?
Krishna's pastimes. First is his appearance in the house of Vasudeva, and then he goes to Vrindavan. And then after that, he married. He came back to Dwaraka and married so many
Oh
wives.
yes, you said that everyone. I mean, people who perfects their um, bhakti yoga here, they go to when Krishna performs. They go to where Krishna is performing the lila, and then from there they go to Goloka Vrindavan after being trained. So in that context, Mataji, so remember in our class we had that discussion about how another living entity, as per the desire, what we desire, of course, in that particular rasa, and we want to suppose I desire to be like in Arjuna's position, and be with Krishna all the time, get instruction from him, and have that loving relation. Then if I perfect my bhakti yoga, then I will get a chance to be in Krishna Leela where Krishna is with Arjuna, and I will be merged with Krishna, actual merged with Arjuna. Actual Arjuna will be there, but another living entity also comes merges with the soul and come, and then they get that entity goes after liberation goes back to Goloka, and eternal associates are always eternal associates, so they come back again with another whoever have that desire. Remember, for Narad Muni also we read that, we discussed that.
Prahlad Maharaj also. Yeah, there are many like that. Yeah,
Yes,
but
so that
provided
is how
provided
we,
the person has that qualification
of
to,
course.
that's a very exalted thing. But yeah,
That's the highest, yeah, that's the highest thing, because that question I always had, because if Yashoda Mata and like is always eternal, his mother, so how come if someone else had that desire of Vatsalya Ras to enjoy that, how will they experience that mother
they
relation?
become a nurse. They assist Yashoda Mai. Nobody can become Yashoda Mai. They
No,
assist
they can
Yashoda.
also merge and come, no, with Yashoda Mai
No,
when
no,
she
no.
comes.
That I don't know. I never
I
heard
didn't
this.
hear that either. I'm just speculating. Yes, but
But
other
I heard
associates, I heard.
what I heard is you can actually, because that's the whole idea. See, the idea is we want to be a servant, right? And it's better
Hmm.
to be a servant of a devotee than to be directly a servant of Krishna. Actually, it is sweeter. Instead of being directly a servant of Krishna, you assist a devotee who is serving Krishna. Especially, Yashodamai is Yashodamai. There's only one Yashodamai. There cannot be two. So, like we hear in Putana's case, she had that Vatsalya Bhav. She was nursing Krishna, right? Of course, with
Hmm.
an intention to kill him, but nevertheless, it's Krishna's greatness. He accepted her as his mother. So he sent her back. When he killed her, he sent her back to the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan. That doesn't mean there is, Krishna is in Putana's house as Putana's baby. No, the spiritual world, Yashodama is only Krishna's mother always. But she has these nurses, who are, you know, again, just like Srimati Radharani's mood is, she's always telling Krishna, this devotee is better than me, accept this person's service. Yashodamai is an expansion of Srimati Radharani only. So if she has some assistants, so she wants Krishna to accept their services. So she'll be happy to, engage them in Krishna's service. So that's the good fortune, our good fortune, if we get a role like that. So when someone has this Vatsalya Bhav means they'll go and they'll assist. Just like Srimati Radharani, Srimati Radharani. Everyone else is assisting Srimati Radharani. There are other gopis, but they're always trying, they're always working to unite Radha and Krishna. But Srimati Radharani, what is her mood? You see in different pastimes, she's trying to send these gopis to Krishna. Like if Radha and Krishna are swinging, she'll get down and she'll put one gopi next to Krishna, and but everyone knows Srimati Radharani, right? But she is always engaging others also in Krishna service. That is her greatness. And it's a great good fortune to be assisting the eternal devotees, right? And even their servants and servant of the servant of the servant. This is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us. The more we are a servant of the servant, it's like, how this example is also given, like a tulsi plant. You have a tulsi, you have the main branch, and then you have side branches, right? And then you have all these leaves, and at the tip you have the manjaris, right? So when a bird sits or something happens, which part of the tulsi plant moves first? It's the tip, it's the manjaris, not the trunk. The main trunk is not going to shake first. The manjaris are going to move first. That means the more you're servant of the servant of the servant, you are actually you're tasting it. You're tasting that. Not to say that those who are direct servants, they are not tasting as much, but our line is that of Rupa Manjari, Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami and all the Goswamis, they're all Manjaris. They're Manjaris in Krishna Lila. Manjari means what? They're little girls, less than 8 years of age. And they're always running back and forth, assisting the gopis, assisting Srimati Radharani and the other gopis in their meeting with Krishna. They're always running. That is the role of, Rupanugas. And that's as far as where I can go. I can't think beyond that.
Yes, Mataji. I like the Sakyaras of Arjuna. I'm not capable, I'm not eligible, but if I become, then it is so nice that, to have
Yeah,
pastimes with Krishna. I know his reciprocation, his playfulness, everything. So wonderful. Yeah. Mataji, I remembered what I was saying about the next verse is when Govinda Ghosh actually, when he was supposed to take Chandan and Karpur to another state, right? And
Madhavendra.
Madhavendra Puri. See, my brain is absolutely bogus. So, yeah, Madhavendra Puri, when he was supposed to go there, that time Lord Chaitanya actually, like Gopinath actually
Gopal,
said that, oh,
Gopal,
you give, Gopal
Gopal,
ji actually said that, oh, you give it to
Gopinath.
here only. Yeah, because he was so caring. He was so, always
My
taking
devotee
care.
shouldn't undergo so much trouble like that.
Yeah, he was so caring, like we see here for you, Uddhava. Krishna is so caring. He's thinking
Yeah,
about his devotee. Oh no, he will feel bad, like that. So nice, no?
yeah. Very nice. Yeah. This is what we are supposed to, feel how Krishna is so wonderful and how loving he is, how affectionate, how caring he is. And when we start feeling, that's when we actually, we he endears himself to us more and more by his wonderful qualities, by his dealings with devotees. When we see, right, he becomes dearer and dearer, and that's how we actually progress in our devotional service.
He also does that. I think he does that for our lives also. The only thing is because we are so sinful. I mean, because loving a mother will also have to beat a child, like if the child is very naughty. So that's why we feel the pain and we think, oh, this is happening to us. But actually, that is also a loving gesture which we cannot see because we are stupid.
Yes, that's there certainly. But it's a different type of reciprocation though. There are different levels of reciprocation. Ye yathamam prapadyante, Krishna says, right? As one approaches me. So in our level of devotional service also, when does Krishna actually start uh, like directly? Of course, reciprocation, when you actually experience him within your heart, like he personally comes and sits in your heart and he's talking to you and all that, that happens when one comes to bhava bhakti, ecstatic love stage. That means before that Krishna is not reciprocating with us. No, it's not that he's not reciprocating, but that reciprocation is different than Krishna sitting in the heart and reciprocating. That is, it is said, when you chant Hare Krishna, he is entering our heart in the form of bhavana, Krishna bhavana, or Krishna consciousness. He is there in our heart in the form of consciousness, Krishna consciousness. But as we advance further, advance means like, we come to the stage of bhava bhakti. At that stage, he is not there in the form of consciousness. He's actually there personally. He's personally there, and like Narad Muni in his previous life as a boy, he was actually able to hear the voice of Krishna like that. But within the heart. And when you go to Prema Bhakti stage, he's not just within the heart, he'll come in front of you, in front of your eyes. You can actually see him, you can touch him, you can even kiss him outside. These things are possible outside, but inside, in the heart, you can hear him, you can smell him, uh, hear him, smell him, and I think see him also. Yeah. Hear him, smell him, and see him inside you can do. But touching and tasting will only happen outside when he comes in front of you, like that. So what I'm trying to say is, there is reciprocation at all stages, but it's a different level of reciprocation. It's not the same level of reciprocation. So until we are purified, and we first of all we have to start performing pure devotional service. That means anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanavritam anukulena krishnanushilanam. When we start performing pure devotional service, then all the anarthas are removed. So meanwhile, that means he's reciprocating. And what you're feeling, is that not real? It is real. He is only reciprocating. But at that time, he is in the heart in the form of Krishna bhavana, Krishna consciousness. But by your sadhana, when he is pleased, like Yashodamai's pastime, when he allows himself to be bound, then she was able to bind him, like that. So by your sadhana, when he is pleased, then he reveals himself. That's when you will actually, personally be interacting with him, hearing him. But now also the feelings that we get, like when you hear about Krishna's wonderful qualities, oh, how nice he is, how kind he is, how you're getting that feeling? You're getting because he's there in the form of that Krishna consciousness in the heart, and he's reciprocating with your sincere devotional service, and that's how we feel that.
Yes,
Okay.
Mataji, like Dhruva Maharaj, example, when after he completed his sadhana, he came and touched Kaunshal. That is so beautiful also.
Yes. Okay, so it is I was going to start the 10th canto today, but I think we'll have to end here. Let me see. Yeah, I won't start today. But Prabhuji will read tomorrow. Jai Ganesh Prabhu will start reading tomorrow if he is there. If not, Isha will start. And All of you pray to Krishna, pray to Srila Prabhupada that we'll be able to read the 10th canto very carefully and, you know, we'll do it properly without any offenses or mistakes or anything. This is the cream of all creams. Of course, entire Bhagavatam is sweet. You lick it from anywhere, beginning, end, it is always sweet, Srila Prabhupada said. But still, this 10th canto is the shelter of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. So we'll be beginning that tomorrow. Let me read Bhagavad Gita again. Actually, I'll stop here today. It's already time and I have also some things to do. So I didn't read Bhagavad Gita and Leelamrita today. We'll read tomorrow. Thank you all so much for joining on Sunday morning. Hare Krishna. You have a wonderful day and wonderful Sunday feast program at the temple. I'll see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.